Hello, everybody, and welcome back to In Our Humble Opinion. My name's Chachi. Today I'm going to be doing it solo, but we're going to do it a little differently, okay? Also, like and subscribe for more of our content. But anyway, we're going to do a little different. The season's kind of playing out. We know who the contenders are and who are not going to be contended more for draft picks and stuff like that. But we're going to more discuss like each conference's plus Happy Thanksgiving for everybody out there because we're recording this on the Saturday of the week of Thanksgiving, so or I am. But we're gonna assess both conferences. First, we're gonna start with the younger one, the AFC. We're gonna have the NFC. They're gonna be the elder statesman. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're gonna assess both conferences, both all the teams in contention, maybe the ones that are dark horses. And it's gonna be a little quicker videos this time. I don't know if I'm gonna put them under the same as football talk, even though we were technically talking football. Probably will. But anyway, let's get going. Just wanted to explain everything so the format of the video is not going to be as long. I love the long form content, but keep these a little shorter. So let's start with the AFC. The Dolphins won yesterday, as everyone knows. Dolphins technically are the number one seed because the Ravens haven't played yet, and the Ravens were the number one seed only because they haven't really had a bye week. So once the bye week comes. But assessing the AFC, let's start with the seedings. I think the Dolphins are a good team, but as me and Tom have discussed, they are a speed Ferraris. They're a quick team. If their offense gets rolling on you, yes, they can beat you. But they seem to struggle against very physical teams. I want to see them. They play the Ravens coming up. I want to see them play well against them or any team that's physical like that. I feel like that is a big weakness of theirs. When you get physical with them, they have a little trouble. The offense doesn't play the same against good teams. They're great against bad teams. Problem is in the playoffs, you don't really play bad teams. As for the second team on this list, we have the Ravens. I think the Ravens are a good team. They're the only team I can say, I am home fan. I am home. It is my hometown team and my favorite team, but my team have a root and interest for. The Ravens are the only team, even though they have 3 losses, they could have won every one of them games. They had an opportunity. They're a very good team, but they sometimes are lackadaisical and let people come back. They're very weird with that. I give Cleveland credit in that game, though. They scare me because we'll get into them because they are a tough team. They got punched in the mouth and stood right there and came right back against them. The Ravens are a team, if they get ahead of you, it can really snowball, but they are beatable. Just like we said, everybody's beatable in this league. They have their weaknesses. Their secondary has played well this year, but Marlins starting to get back to form, but their secondary, as far as like their corners, are kind of. I mean, they've played well. Stevens has. That was going to be a weakness, but it seems to have just they found guys kind of like the Deron Bland. We'll get into that with the Cowboys, but yeah, it's. I think they're a good team. I think they could be really good, but we got to see more consistency because sometimes they have these lulls that let teams back in the game, and you can't do that in football. You get one game in the playoffs, and you never know what can happen. Now we'll get into next is the Chiefs on this list. I think the Chiefs and the AFC are always going to be contenders as long as you got Pat Mahomes. They lost that game against the Eagles, but if they catch the ball, they win the game. They have a habit of playing these close games, and sometimes you lose them. Honestly, their strong point this year is their defense because it's really good. And Pat Mahomes still is Pat Mahomes. He's going to make plays. They're also going to get the calls at the end of these games. I already said they're the team. They're like the Patriots were. They're the team now. They're going to get these calls, so you can't keep it close. Sometimes that will lose you the game. So you got to be careful. But they're a good team. They're a good team. I think they're going to be fine. I know they're dropping some passes now, but they have Pacheco's a heck of a running back. He's tough. They just got to play a little different style now. And Travis Kelce just needs to get back. Kelsey needs to get back to the way he was playing before. I know all this talk about it being. I don't think he's distracted. I think he had a rough game. He's usually really good, so they'll be okay. I think they're going to be in it all the way to the end. As long as you got number 15, you got a shot. But let's be honest too. He's missing some throws, but I mean his weapons are kind of diminished right now. It's a whole different ball game. He's trying to. He's a great player though. The Chiefs will be there. Jaguars. They're the next team we're going to discuss. You see them on the list down here. Jaguars are very good, but they're so up and down. They'll have a game where like a couple weeks ago where they just don't show up, and it's very very concerning because you don't know who you're going to get. We're going to see what they got coming up. They play the Ravens and a couple other teams that are tough. But I just the way they play sometimes is just perplexing. There's no consistency. They'll have one great week where they just look like they're all phases a great team, and then they'll have a game where they're not. They're kind of like Jekyll and Hyde. They don't really use ETN enough. He's a really good player, and they have games where they just don't utilize him as much as they should. I think they are a tough team. Like they can give you a good game. They can go on a run too if they get going. Trevor Lawrence, though, I think has potential to be a great football player, but he's so up and down. Who knows what you're going to get from week in and week out? But Jaguars definitely a solid team. Now here's the team that I think has the best. I love the way they play. The Browns. They are tough. I know that they lost to Sean, and the way that that man played with a broken shoulder, off-field stuff aside, guy's been a very good player. This year he's made adjustments this year and got much better. That last game he played hard. I don't know how he did it with a broken shoulder or whatever was wrong with it. It was apparently very bad, but he did a fantastic job, especially in that last game against the Ravens. Came back, they got sacked on the last drive. Like I think I alluded this on video, and he made plays to bring them down the field, and they won the game on a field goal, which was impressive. But the Browns, I will say they will be a tough out because you are not going to blow it. They are a tough team on defense. They're going to make you work for that win. You're not going to blow them out. They're just a tough team, man. I wouldn't want to play them because even if you win, you're going to be beat up for the next game. Then we have the Texans, who are technically right now they're in the playoffs, and that is a scary team because C.J. Stroud is thrown over it. They believe they can win now with their coach. D'Amico Ryans, he has that team believing the defense is playing a lot better, but C.J. Stroud's the real deal, man. He is definitely an MVP race, especially having them where they're at now. Them two have been amazing. Both of those awards should be clinched up in my humble opinion. Those two guys are doing a fantastic job, and honestly, Rookie of the Year is clinched up for that, in my opinion, with C.J. Stroud. But you know what? He needs to be in the MVP race because he's been impressive. And if you look at the stats, and watch the games, he has been pretty much the best quarterback. And usually that's what that award goes to. Let's be honest. Should it? No. Does it? Yes. Quarterbacks get all the stats now, so they're going to look better than the other positions because running back is completely just not used that much anymore. It's just how it is. Everyone wants to throw the ball everywhere. It's wild. But we're gonna. Texans, very solid team. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl this year, okay, or make a deep run, but I think they can win at least a playoff game maybe if they catch someone off guard. Because they're a tough. That team's gonna fight you. Next up, the Steelers. I'm gonna be dead honest with you. Kenny Pickett is not it, man, and I don't see it. Matt Canada's out. Maybe that'll give him a little fresh jump. I don't know. Defense is scary because they make turnovers, but you just got to be careful with that because they will knock the ball out. But honestly, you can throw on them. Their offense is very meh. The thing with that team is do not let them stay close because they know how to pull out those games in the end. I don't think I don't think there's any way they could win a Super Bowl. And I'm not even saying that as a salty Ravens fan because they beat us. They stuck around. You let them. They're going to win that game. They're very good at the end of games. They're coached very well. Mike Tomlin's a legend. It's the AFC. It's got a lot of teams that are like they're teams you don't want to keep in these games because they know how to win them at the end. All right, now we're going to go down to our few. We're going to put it like this because we don't want to put I feel like the first three here have a shot to make it, but the rest of them I'm not sure about. We got the Bills, the Colts, and the Broncos. I'm gonna assess them because these other teams I don't see it. I mean the Chargers. I talk about them a little bit too before we end the video, but the Bills. They're really hitting the wall now. They're not playing as well as they were. Their window's kind of closing. Josh Allen, they really don't help them. They throw the ball like 50 times a game. And then when even they establish a running game, there's no rhyme or reason what they're doing. They don't run the clock sometimes. Defensively, they have their miscues in the secondary sometimes, which is the strong point of their team. I will very much recognize that. But offensively, I don't know what they're doing sometimes. It's like we're not going to run the ball, and we throw 50 times. Josh Allen, they put him in danger a lot. He's running around. He needs to learn to slide, though. We'll say that. The Stephon Diggs thing all the time. They have issues. I get it. Their window might have closed. I mean, I wouldn't say they're done because they have a lot of talent, and you never know what can happen. They fired Dorsey, too. You don't know how that's going to Ken Dorsey, that might help the team, too. Sometimes getting rid of these offensive coordinators does give you a jump. They have the talent. Unlike Pittsburgh's quarterback situation, which I hope I'm wrong. I don't see it from Kenny Pickett. Haven't seen it yet. The George Pickens having a problem with him. They have the talent to do this. So if they can turn around this offense, get a little more balance, I think they can be right in because their defense is legitimately very good. It is a solid defense. You can win with that defense, very much so. Von Miller's back and he's wreaking havoc. I think they have a shot to get in there. I think they might jump the Steelers. You never know. Steelers though, their schedule looks very. We didn't talk about this. Looks like very easy. I think they can win a lot of these games. But the Bills, that's the one thing holding against them. But I think they can win a lot of games too, especially if they get this offense cleaned up. They have more talent. They definitely do. Colts. I like Gardner Minshew. I said that before. He's a gamer, but I don't know how much he can help you win a division because he is still a backup quarterback. They're kind of what they are, 500. They win a game, they lose a game. They win a game, they lose a game. Their defense is very underrated. They make plays. They're very solid. Offensively, they run the ball well, but it's like passing. They're just a weird team. They're just okay, and some games they play a lot better than they play in others. They're a very inconsistent team. They're not really rolling. They just up and down, up and down. I think they're a hard team to play because if they bring their A game, they're tough. But sometimes you don't get the A game from them. Sometimes Gardner throws a lot of picks. They throw too much sometimes too. They're just a weird team, very weird team. Colts have a shot though. I really believe that. Broncos. This is the team. I saw everyone saying they have a shot. I think Sean Payton has done a wonderful job. Russell Wilson is not an MVP candidate. That's crazy. Anybody that watches the games can see that he's not taking over these games. He's playing efficiently, which is what he did. He fixed that, playing efficiently. Sean Payton hasn't played more efficiently, not turning the ball over, making plays at the end of games. But to be fair, anyone that watched that game, Cortland Sutton is the reason they made plays in that game. Them 2 catches were impressive, helped them win the game. I think they're doing a good job. I think they're a tough team, but I still don't think they have I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And secondly, even if they do, what are you going to do? I don't think they can beat anybody. Their defense is playing a lot better. That team is still just, they're shaky. They keep you in the game. They're another team. They just got to, at the end of the game, are they going to make the plays or not? It's like a coin flip, basically. But Broncos are improving, and I think Sean Payton's doing a good job of fixing their problems they have. But we'll see. I think they need a couple more years before they're like a super contender. I think next year they can really like shore up the other stuff on the team and become a decent team. But right now, they're okay, in my opinion. Next up, we have the Bengals as the last team I'm going to talk about. I'll put them and the Chargers in the same section because I'm like, hey, I don't really think either one of these teams. The Bengals, that injury was terrible. I was enjoying the game until Joe got his hand hurt, and I'm like, oh man. I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. But I think they're going to fight hard. They're hard. That team fights hard. I wouldn't count them out from the standpoint of competing. I don't know how much they can win with Browning, even though he did make plays in that game. I give him credit. He didn't give up. But we'll see. Overall, sorry, sad that it happened to them, but injuries happen, man. I had to deal with it for 2 years with the Ravens. Trust me, it sucks, and I don't like it. Hopefully, Joe's okay. It seems like it's not going to be anything long term with him. It's just his wrist got to let it heal, which is smart. Don't bring him back. Let him heal up. Love the guy. Love watching the guy. As a Ravens fan, I love watching him. He's hard to beat, but I love watching him. Okay. I just wish him and Lamar got to play each other more because a lot of times these games, it's just one of them's out or something happens during the game. It's sad, you love to see good football. The Chargers, well, we can even talk about the Raiders. The Raiders, also, I love Antonio Pierce as their coach. They need to make that deal. That's all I'm going to say about them. They're playing a lot harder. Love the tenacity on the team. Chargers, though, Staley's got I just don't see it. He's not a very good coach. Justin Herbert, the drops killed him last game. I mean, Keenan Allen, though, did have a great game. It's just the draft pick, that young kid. I give him a couple more years, but he's having a little trouble at receiver right now. He's dropping the ball too much, having trouble getting separation. But I would have just given him more time. But the Chargers, I don't know what's going on. I would want to see how they play against the Ravens on Sunday night. Maybe they get a little fire lit under their ass excuse my language, because this is a do or die game for them. They have to win this game. They really need it. They really do, because they're out of it if they don't. Ravens, I want to see how they take this game too. This is one of those classic letdown games for the Ravens. I want to see if they show up. I think they're going to be fine, but you never know. Okay, let me see. Is there anyone? No, I think the rest of these teams are pretty well done. The Patriots are a whole different story. But don't worry, next week Tom's going to be back too. Okay, guys, appreciate you watching. Likes as always are appreciated. Subscribe for more of our content, and as always, roll tide.